Okay, so you can move on for to give us a highlight of what we did in our last class. All right, up to you, Flora.
Okay, sir. So the little summary the one I can remember, the last class we talked of leadership skills in business. Then we defined, we started with the definition of terms. We talked of leadership. What is leadership? We spoke of what are skills and what is skills. Then we also talked about the who is a leader, where we said a leader is someone who is able to influence, that has the ability to influence a group of people or an organization. For my own, for what I had, we also talked
Yes.
about that everyone is also a leader. Then we spoke about the history of leadership, where you gave us an assignment to do, that's to search, to go on internet and also find out about the 10 top business leaders, political leaders, technological leaders, healthcare leaders, spiritual leaders, educational leaders. We also talked about we also talked about problem solving. Those are the characteristics of a good leader. That's the characteristic of a good leader. We
Yeah.
talked about that a good leader should be able to to that problem solving, the dependability, team building, ability to teach.
Yes.
A leader should be able to also be patient, ability to listen, creativity, positivity, and many others criteria of being a leader. Then we also talked about organizational structure.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about organizational growth, types of organization, the flat versus tall organization. We talked about the centralized and versus decentralized organization.
Mm-hmm.
Then we talked about how to begin, that the first department that has to be formed in the company. That's the first. We have the management department, the finance department, and the human resource department. We talked about these three departments and how they can be function, how the functioning of these three departments. We talked about stages of growth. Then
Yes.
we talked about stages of growth of an organization. Then we talked about the duties of a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's all I can remember. Sir.
Okay. Thank you for the highlight. Is there anyone with something on where is Christ identified? Now they have given us what we did.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry. I was not in the class. I was not in the last class.
You were not in the leadership class,
Yes, I wasn't there.
but I saw you in the class of publisher.
Yes, I was at the publishers class, but I was not in the leadership class. I began and then later left.
Oh, you miss a lot. And the recording of that leadership class for the very first class, you can only have it. This since I used a different computer to do it, it was not giving me the exact recording as expected. It recorded by slides. It did not record the whole or something like a video that you're going to see. So
Yeah,
we are going to miss the first class for leadership. the video of the first class, you are going to miss that.
All right, but I noted down what Flora just said, so I'm going to do research on my own.
Yes, the notes are available. I will even send the notes to you who have to go through.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir.
Yes. So Siri, Bislin, yes, up to you. Are you there?
Yes, sir. Flora has said it all.
Yes. So what is Flora gave the let's say the guidelines, but now let's go a bit detailed so that we'll know if actually you have something to say about it. So detailing, we introduce leadership, or we give an introduction to the whole leadership skills in business, and we had a definition of who is a leader and what is leadership. And so, what did we see was leadership? Whistling. Remember that our class is not only participation, or let's say it's not only attendance, but also involve participation. So participation is sharing ideas. Not one person talking. Let's study like people from abroad, or let's say from our brothers, the white people. This is how they study. They don't study one person speaking and everyone just listening. No. They study through conversations, sharing of ideas. So what do you think is leadership? Even if you are not giving me the exact of what we said it was, but what do you think is leadership? Or what do we say was leadership? All right, nothing to be said. Wesley, are you there? Or surely you even said that you have difficulties to be speaking through your mic. If you can just type, you type. As you are moving forward, we are going to see your response. So you just type on the chat and drop. Flora, do you want to say something? Yes. Move on.
Yes, it's a short. We talked about that leadership is a process of influencing people.
The act of influencing people, or the process of influencing people to do what?
To develop skills.
That they will use to do what?
And they used to improve in their work units.
And achieve organizational goals.
And achieve organizational goals. Set goals.
Yes, and they need to achieve set goals. So if leadership should be an act or a process of influencing one another in an organization or as a team so that you can achieve some set goals. You can reach shared goals. Sometimes they call them shared goals or set goals. Shared goals are goals that you set and you share with your team. You share the goals because you are the vision bearer. You are the one who made the goals, right? And we call them shared goals because you need to transfer these goals to your team, make them to understand that this is where you are driving to. Therefore, everyone should put on the seat belt very well and you move on. That is why the writer said that you should bring on the right persons into the bus and remove or send off the wrong persons from the bus. and let all the right persons that are in the box, everyone should sit on his seat very well. That is making those decisions. Now, we talk of the critical duties of a business owner that you've made mention. The business owner should have direction or provide vision and direction for the company. That was the first. Second, should develop and refine processes and procedures, and also create the organization's human resource. As a vision bearer, you must have these abilities. If you don't have these abilities, then you fail. You cannot lead a company. That company will not succeed. You cannot be a leader. It means you don't have these leadership skills. So these are the principal duties. When we talk of principal, it means there are many other duties that a business owner can perform or can do. But these are the key because they are strategic duties. When we call them strategic, it means they are very important. And we move on to seeing the different kinds, the organizational structure, the unstructured and the well-structured organization. Realize that the unstructured organization employs anyhow, does not have a work plan, and at the end of the day, they have a high cost of production and less revenue, and that company is bound to fail. Why? Because as time goes on, the cost is increasing, the revenue is decreasing, and at the point they will not be able to pay their workers, they will lay off their workers. And the company start having challenges, one challenge to another. If you lay off your workers, what is going to happen? The capacity of production in your company is going to reduce. It's going to drop. That is, the human capacity is going to drop, right? Please, for me to know that you are following me, you should be immediately unmute your mic and respond so that we'll continue. Let's be very flexible. Yes, let us be very flexible. So immediately, yes, the company start decreasing. The capacity, the production capacity start decreasing. Your company cannot perform in its full capacity again. Why? Because you have reduced the human labor. And so, why? Because the organization is unstructured. A structured organization that we saw on the other hand is that type of organization that have, limited, or let's say, appointed some strategic supervisors of the company. The CEO become the strategic, operates at the strategic level, and now appoints people who are going to supervise the different teams. They may bring just 3 departments, that these 3 departments are going to exist in this company. I want the sales and management department to exist. I want the operations department, administrative department to exist, and I want the other ones that are going to be reaching out to customers to exist. That is the office management and all of that to exist. And so we appoint leaders like the sales manager, the operations manager, and the office manager. The operations managers now will be doing what? Will be in charge of all the different operations, the production process, everything of the company. That is internal. The office manager is there to make sure that the operations manager and the sales manager team, they are working very well. That is the human resources. The office manager is there to take care of the different departments and things like that. And the sales manager is there to make sure that what the operations manager is producing with the team is to be taken to the market and sold. That is the work of the sales manager. So dividing your company in these 3 main departments, you don't need so many departments like, let me go and look for this order. There should be a finance department. No, you cancel the finance department. The finance department should be under where? The finance department should be under the office manager. Are you understanding? Let the finance sector, the accountant, everyone, the human resource, the accountant, the payroll, the people who are doing the training, the whosoever, or they should be under the office manager. They are the ones who are going to give now the analysis. They analyze the business to see that, okay, the business is moving very well. The operations manager focuses on production of the services, production of what? Of the goods, and so on. That is their own role. That department is function only on producing. And now you have a sales manager under the sales department. Their role is only to sell, to carry what the operations department have produced, or the services that they are rendering, and sell them to the customers, and so on and so forth. It makes the work more structured, less offices, and everything is smooth, and so on. That was what we discussed about organizational structures. And we'll move on to the stages of growth. We say that for you to grow, you need to move from an individual level. You need to start your business alone by developing your vision, creating the standards, creating the documentation, creating everything that you need. Start it alone. Create all the materials that you need to create. And after doing it alone, you have set a base. You have set a system, and you want people to run with that system. Now bring in vision builders. When you bring in vision builders, the vision builders are coming to support your vision, to work on your vision, to build that vision to maturity. Because you cannot do it alone. If you want to do it alone, you die. Are you getting me? Do it alone, you die. That big dream that you want to realize, if you have a very big, we'll talk about big dreams are not realized alone. Big dreams are realized with people. And that is why I'm taking my time to explain this, because in our next topic, which is module 3 that we are going to see, it talks about people, selecting your team, how to select your team. So that is why I'm coming back here, so that you should know the importance of leadership skills in business. If you lack them, then your business is going to fail. So after moving from stage 2, which is from stage 1, when you develop your business, you move to stage 2 to train the people who are going to work in that business. You become like a player coach. A player coach is there to show them what to do. Show them. Work with them along the way. Support everyone. Support every department. Support every person that is working in every position. Support the person. Why? If you don't support the person will not know what exactly you want. If you just tell the person, go and do this, and you don't show the person how to do it, are you expecting that the person is going to bring you the best result? No, the person will not bring you the best result. So for the person to bring the result that you want, you need to work alongside with the person, continue coaching the person, showing the person. So it becomes like you become a coach, to coach them, show them, coach, show, coach, show. From that stage, you move to the next stage, the third stage, which is now your supervising role. By then, you have coached them for some time, whether it's 3 months, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 1 year. You can coach them for 1 year, depending on the kind of business you are talking about. You can coach them. And at that level, don't expect them to operate in full capacity. Don't force them. As a leader, you don't need to force them. It's not their vision, it's your vision. So you don't go and shout at them, say that you are not doing this thing. Since you are not doing this thing, you are not serious. I'll look for another person, I will replace you. You start making all of that. Those are things that start making the people whom you are working with start looking at you as a threat to their own life, or a threat to their own destiny, or a threat to their own career, and they will forget about your vision. They will go their way. After all, they are not receiving anything tangible. You are not paying them anything serious. So you have to make sure that you play that coach. When we talk of a coach, who is a coach? A coach is someone who encourages, motivates. You are there to motivate them, to encourage them to do it, even though they are finding it difficult to do it. Push them. Be there with them. That is why you are there. Why? Because you have a target. You want them to understand your vision. So at that supervisory role, the third stage, they already understood what to do. They already know what to do. They are now experts. You are now supervising. You only come and supervise what they are doing, and you correct the little mistakes that they have. And that is the third stage. And the final stage now, professionals. They become experts. You don't even need to be there. You can even leave the business to them and travel you and stay you out for 1 year. Only call from where you are and they will be giving you the result, and you'll be getting the result exactly the way if you were there you will be getting the result. That is the fourth stage. We call it the strategic level. Then you start operating like a strategic manager. There, people start calling you for conferences. Your business is succeeding, is growing. You realize that they will start calling you for business seminars to come and teach, and they'll start introducing your business to those seminars. That makes sense, right? It's very important. Okay, and we saw the different kinds of organizations, the flat, tall, and so on and so forth. And today, we are going to move forward. Today, we are going to move forward to see something new. I was just setting the background, all of this, to see something new. Now, selecting your team. Selecting your team. And on this module, we are going to explore some things. We are going to, at the end of this module, we should be expected to state the reasons why employees are regarded as assets. Employees are regarded as assets. We have seen the first two modules, setting up a business organization. Now, we are talking about leadership. We are going into the leadership aspect of it detailing. In this second stage, or at this third module, we want to go more deep on how you should develop leadership skills for your business. If you are setting a business that is a big organization or is a big company one day, then you should think about selecting your team. And so we are going to see that. The next thing you need to learn at the end of this module is to identify management practices. To identify management practices that have been associated with producing sustained competitive advantage. And to sustain competitive advantage, we are going to see that, going to explain that. Also, we are going to understand, please a minute, let me answer this call. Yes, hello. Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Okay, we are going to see the different processes involved in the recruitment of employees, and we are going to list the different types and forms of an interview. At this level, does anyone has a question to ask? Hello?
Hi, sir. No, I don't have any questions to ask.
Okay.
No.
I believe you all are seeing my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mbikuno, you are even there. It's not even taking note. Okay. Yes, so that is that. Now, let's see what's next. And at this stage, realize that as there's a great deal of this recent research that have been done, and the strategic advantage that most companies may gain is when they make their employees to look like assets instead of commodities. I don't know if you understand me on that statement.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Yes. So when we talk of assets and we talk of commodities, they have some kind of resemblance. There are some assets that are commodities, and there are some assets that are really assets, they are not commodities. Now, commodities are things that are consumable, right? They are things that you eat, you destroy, you discard. After you finish with them, they are waste, right? You throw them. Those are commodities. You can talk of, maybe in a company, you can talk of parts of papers, you can talk of pens. After using a pen, it's a commodity. After using it, are you going to continue using it for when it's finished? You throw the cork, not so. You discard it. Those are commodities. If you consider employees, if you look at employees as commodities in the company, then I bet you are taking your company behind, because employees are not commodities. You should consider employees as who? Employees as assets. What are assets? Assets are those things that you use them to generate revenue. They are those equipments, you can call them equipments, or they are the things that the business employ, bring them together. Examples are what? Like physical plant, like the equipment, money, the cash that you're using, and all of that, all of those assets, they have what? They have a high return on investment, ROI. What you are seeing there is what we call return on investment. They have high return on investment. But on the other side, realize that commodities, they have no return on investment, because after you use commodities, what happens? They become like waste products. You discard them and things like that. And if you look at assets in their nature, they are these items that we use, or equipments, or we call them what again? Things that we use, or machines that we use to raise or to produce goods and services in order to raise revenue. So if you go like to you go like to you go like to these companies like Dangote company, for example. Let me use Dangote. Dangote, all the machines that have been employed, all the machines that they are using to produce that cement, all those who call them what? Assets. The building where the Dangote is operating is called an asset. The what again? You talk of the you talk of the building is an asset, the machines are the asset, the land where the structure or where the production is taking place an asset. Imagine if someone wants to buy that land, if someone wants to buy the land, the Dangote land, do you think the person is going to buy only the land and leaving the building, without buying the building, without buying the machines and all of that? Do you think so? Hello?
Hi,
No,
sir.
sir. No, sir.
The person has to buy everything. He needs to buy the machines. He needs to buy everything that land is carrying. And so the value of that land has increased. That is why we call it assets, because it increases the value in your business. It brings more value in your business. Now, Why are we saying this? Why are we talking this in leadership? We are saying it in leadership because employees are the ones that are going to make things happen. And if you see employees instead as commodities, that you can use them, like what you are saying, that you go to work and you come back at what time, that employers are exploiting you also. They exploit the employees, right? That is what we're talking about. We are talking about employers using employees as what? As commodities. So after using you, you are worn out, tired, without any income, they say you should go away. They even sack you from work. They even reject you. They even tell you that you are not qualified to do the work. That is, if you consider your workers like that as commodities, then your company will never grow. You will keep looking for new employees every day. You keep employing, you keep employing, you keep employing. You employ this one today, tomorrow you fire. You say the person is not competent. Why? Because you look at your employees as who? As commodities. You are not encouraging. You don't want them. You are not seeing the good side on how you can motivate them. When you were employing them to come in your company, did you consider that they don't yet know more about your vision? So you need to play that role as a player coach for some time. Put them on the track. Show them what to do. Guide them to do it. Encourage them. While in that process, support them. What we are going to see again is support them, whatever you are going to support them. Make them feel that they belong to that organization. Then you can see some results that are coming out, some fruitful results that will be coming out. Employees are among your most valuable assets. Whatever assets you have, whether you have land, you have machines, those machines cannot produce the cement, or that land cannot raise a building if human beings are not there. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
If the human beings are not there, do you think the Dangote building, the structure that they are seeing there that is called today Dangote, and the name is everywhere Dangote, if there were not people working with him, do you think that that name would have been out Dangote?
Never.
So it depends on how he kept his employees. It depends on how he motivated them to see into his vision that this is what he wants to bring up, and work with them to that level until they realize that. That is why most companies are small. Most businesses are small. They are operating small. Not that they don't have plans to get big. They have plans to become big. But the reason why they are small is because they look at their employees as commodities. They don't look at their employees as valuable assets. Instead, your employees, your team should be the most valuable asset you ever have in a company. Because they are the ones who are going to turn the other assets, make all the other assets to produce you the results and bring you the profit that you need in that company to grow. So when you have them, they bring you high return of investment. They are the ones who are the most people you should invest in. You should invest in your employees more. Now, let's make progress. In investing in employees, it brings about you setting up what we call a high commitment management system. Please take note of this term. It's very important in business leadership skills in business. If you want to acquire leadership skills in business, this is one of the key things you need to set up, know how to set up. These are one of the main things you need to set up because it concerns human beings. It concerns the group of people you are going to be working with. It concerns your team. And you need to know how to set this system. We call it a high commitment management system. And this system was brought forth by who? By Professor Jeffrey Pfeffer of Stanford University. He's the one who identified the 7 management practices that have been associated with what? With producing sustained competitive advantage for the companies that have been adopted, these practices. So there are 7 key practices for you to build a high commitment management system. And at the end of the day, putting all of these things together, a high commitment management system should form the foundation of what is called what? A high performance, or it should bring you high performance. It should give you high performance in your company. Your performance should be extraordinary. We are not operating in the low one. We are talking about high, not medium. The best. For you to become the best, you need to know these 7 key elements, these 7 key principles, these 7 key things that you must do to set up a high commitment management system for your organization. What are they? Let's find out. So if you look at this, we see 7 of them. The first one is employment security. Employment security to your workers, or we'll call it, another term, we'll call it job security. It's stated in our labor code, Cameroon labor code. Yeah. And it's your job as an entrepreneur, and it's your job as a business owner or as the vision bearer of your company to secure the interest of your employers, or let's say your employees, your team members. Make sure that you know what they are interested in. Make sure that you know, find out what are their weaknesses and their strengths. It is your responsibility to know who they are personally, out of work. That means I'm not talking about work. That means talking about their lives, so that you can know how to secure their interest. You can know how to protect them. A business owner or an entrepreneur who goes this extra mile to know more about their employees makes the employee to feel that he belongs to that organization and he has a say in that organization. And therefore, there is more security. It means that he is secured. He can trust you. He can tell you whatever thing about him or herself and things like that. If you build this aspect in the lives of your employees or your team members, that they can look up to you for such things, then you are building a strong leadership ability in your business to succeed. The next thing is selecting and hiring, or selective hiring. You need to know how to select the right people. You don't just go and pick anyone and come and put in your business to grow. No, you need to know how to select the right people. There are people who will come, all what they will be doing is to make sure that they sit and they are just doing nothing and the business is going nowhere. You need to identify. That is why when it comes to doing business, they said there is a common saying, business before pleasure. It's not for nothing. It's because you don't want people to come and pile in your companies doing nothing. You want them to do business. Let them do the business. Bring them in to do business. Don't bring them in to come and sit and eat and drink and discuss and discuss all kind of African movies that I've ever watched during work hours, and discuss the next thing that the actor or the actress is going to do to the other person, and they are not working. Time is wasting. Your money is going. Customers, you are losing customers. You want to see your business is going down. So one of these aspects that you need to have, one of these skills in order, or this element that you need to have in order to build a high commitment management system, is to know how to select the right people. People who can carry your vision. People who can work without your presence. People who are more self-motivated, that they can do the job for you without your presence. The next thing is also The third element is self-managed teams with decentralized authority. I want to talk about decentralization. It's division of labor. Decentralized authority, that means giving each department the ability for them to run things for themselves and give you feedback. It means at that level you are playing the strategic role or a supervisory role. You are no longer the player coach. Don't make your business to be the self person that is you are going to manage the things yourself from morning to night. You are there doing it yourself. There are businesses like that. You go to these most Bamileke businesses. They remain like that. They are doing the money, but they remain like that. Or most of those businesses remain like that. They are self-managed businesses. You instead need to bring a self-managed team and not a self-managed person. You should not be a self-managed person, but you should have a self-managed team with decentralized authority. Give them the authority, or let's give them the power to exercise the authority in their different departments. Let them be the heads. Let them be the ones doing the business. Just come and supervise. That is your role, just to supervise and correct the errors. Tell them, even if reaching out to the people who are actually doing the work, the downliners, you are not even the one telling the downliners what to do, but you are the people whom you have appointed to supervise the business. They are the ones that are going to carry the message. So if there is anything wrong with the downliners, you call the attention of not the downliners to come to you, because if you call the attention of the downliners to come to you directly, then you have skipped authority. It means that you want to deal directly with the downliners, and the person you have appointed to manage the downliners, you have overruled his own authority. It means you are bringing him down. He will not. You are minimizing his capacity to work. That is not how things are done. So if you have appointed someone to do something, and you have seen that something is wrong with that thing that he is doing, or that sector, that department is not functioning very well, you don't go back to the least person in organization or the least worker in organization, start questioning why is it not working. You start doing your findings right from the person who is heading. Start with him himself as the leader of that particular department, because you have given him the power to exercise his authority. So what is wrong? Why is the department not functioning, or why is it not progressing? Let him give you the response. If you cannot get that a positive response that you need, now you can now move forward from there to the next person who follows him, who is the vice assistant or who is assistant manager or whosoever that's appointed, and things like that. That is how you start finding out until you get to the bottom of the matter to know why it is not working. But if you just move straight, you skip him, you move straight to the bottom, then you are making an error. That is not how you should lead. That is how to set a high commitment system. It's not an easy thing. Another thing is to pay or high pay contingent on organizational performance. When we talk about contingents, I don't know if you heard the word contingents before. What are contingents? Hello, is someone there with me?
Don't know the meaning exactly.
Yes, who else again? So when we talk about paying high contingent, on organizational performance is a kind of support. It's a kind of an allowance. It's a kind of an allowance. Contingent contingents in an adjective format is described as what? As a subject to chance. Anything that has a chance to succeed, or anything that has a chance to perform, or let's say a chance or an opportunity. So giving an employer that opportunity, that is giving the person a high pay contingent on organizational performance, an opportunity to receive some kind of allowance for what the person has done. Is what we call the high pay contingent organizational performance. So you need to evaluate the performance of your employees, and at each point in time, you need to motivate people who are really pushing the work hard. They are going forward with the work. They are making the company to realize revenue. You need to motivate them. Bring this aspect. Sometimes give them some gifts. If you are not doing it globally to make some people feel that they are not doing anything, you can do it personally. You call the person personally. Yeah, you do it for the person personally to motivate the person. That's what we call, those are kind of what we call the high pay contingent on organizational performance. Because sometimes logically you want to do it in an open air for everyone to see that this person is the best person that is doing it. The other people start feeling inferior, that you are not looking at them as though they are not doing anything, or you are looking at them as though they are not doing anything, right? So in order to solve that issue, you need to sometimes know how to approach them. As a leader, you should know how to motivate them individually, and you know the kind of things that need to go public. If the motivation should be public, you know the kind of levels and the kind of activities you should motivate them. So you should have that aspect in you in order to build a high commitment management system. This kind of support must be there. I think I'm working with a group of people now, even from within me. People can they see it for themselves. Yes. Sometimes I don't need to go and do it openly. I call you, I ask you what is your problem and things like that. Or sometimes I try to encourage you to continue doing the work and so on and so forth. You need to have that aspect as a leader. The next thing is training. You must train your workers. You must train your team. For your team to be effective, organize training, team training. We call it training of trainers. Training of trainers. You need to be training, or that is in an educational sector, but you need to train your employees all the times, your team all the times. You need to train them. Another thing is reduce status differences. Reduce the status difference. Don't over differentiate that this one is very high, this one is this. The kind of things that brings kind of high in positions. No, don't over put kind of differences in their status, their nature of job. Let everyone work as a team. You should look everyone equally. Even if I'm the manager or I am the director of that company, I should work even with the least person, even the cleaner in the company, as a team. I don't over differentiate the status, that at least moderate it. Know how to moderate such things, so that the people give you the respect that you deserve as a director. They give you the respect as you deserve as the manager. They give you the respect as you deserve as the boss or the owner of that particular business. And so you need to moderate those status. You need to make sure that the status should not be too different and so bossy, so serious in such a way that you cannot even make your team to be lively. You cannot push your team to be lively. Bring out some seminars if it means that you need to carry them to go to a particular event, to some outdoor activities, your team, to motivate them. Go to visit some, even in the beach, or you go and take some kind of outing. You do some outing once in a while. You put discuss at that time. You're not discussing work, to reduce your status. When we talk about reduce status differences, people are talking real life situations now. You discuss as normal people. You discuss as friends. When you do that, you are going to build a team that is highly performant. Very high performance. And the last thing is to share information. Always share information. Don't keep things. Immediately you have an idea that can make the company to progress, share as a leader in your team. Bring it up. Guys, I have this new idea. I don't know how you look at it, but I just want to see, or get your own opinion on this idea. You share. When you share, they are going to propose that, okay, this is what I think, use their judgment now to moderate that your idea and conclude on what you are going to do. That is very effective. I don't know if most people do that. Some people just come and implement. Today we are doing this verb. They just give you the direction. You go do this. Go. They don't even ask your opinion. And at the end of the day, you realize that the company is not making what it's supposed to make. Why? Because they have not considered these steps of sharing first, getting the opinion of everyone, the key persons, getting their opinion on how they are going to carry on with that idea or with that strategy that we are talking about. Though it is your vision, but share it with them. They can have something more substantial to add to that your vision that you have as an idea that you never had before. And that is going to make things easy. That is why this professor put these 7 principles or 7 things that you need to know or you need to employ. Please take them. They are very important. If you can write them down somewhere and make sure that you practice them. You are going to practice them. So if you put all of these practices together, it forms what the foundation of what we call the high commitment or a high performance management system. Is there any question at this level?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Elisa, you can talk.
Yes, move on.
Thank you. All right. On this this aspect of reduce status differences. Now, if you don't like, how do I put it? Okay, you're trying to reduce status differences. Don't you think that it might lead to some kind of maybe arrogance? Is it arrogance? Like people don't have a respect for hierarchy any longer?
Okay. It depends on how you use it, and it depends on how you approach each person in their department or in that area of work or in their positions. For example, you are the director of the company, and at a point of time, maybe you are secretary, your secretary, let's say, is a lady, and you start doing some kind of personal kind of stuff, when she comes, you start saying some kind of things that she does not want to hear. You understand me, right? Yes. And you
Yes,
start,
okay.
bringing some personal issues into it. Those are the kind of things that is going to lead to arrogance. There is no normal human being that is going to be arrogant to you if you have not brought something that is threatening his or her life.
Okay.
I understand. Yes. So
Yeah, I understand.
yes, that status differences normally, to me, what I usually do is when it comes to this point, I think the Kuni is here can testify. I've worked with them. He's one of my students I've been training all the while. And what I do is that even with you students or with people, I try to be lively. I try to play with everyone, but I should know my limit. I try to make you laugh. Try to put smiles on their faces and things like that. But in my position, I know who I am. I am doing it because I want to motivate you. I'm doing it because I want to see you, smile and things like that. But I should not reduce myself to start going to ask you, maybe come and start asking you out, and if you are not interested, I start bringing some kind of threat to you that if you don't do it, you know that I'm the one in this position and kind of things like that. I will send you away and so on and so forth. You understand? Those are the kind of things now that will start making the person to be arrogant to them. You want to see one day the person is passing, you are passing as the director, and that person will not greet you. And the other subordinates will start looking, but it is not normal. Why is she not greeting the boss? They start asking questions. They start seeing another form of arrogance from you and things like that. Start seeing the form of arrogance because the boss reduced himself right down to that level. whereas he was supposed to maintain his boundaries and just do the necessary thing that was supposed to be done and things like that. So that is what I mean by reduced status and not the other way.
All right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you for thanking me. We move to the next stage. We have still under the high commitment management system, building a high commitment management system. We can produce organizational performance, and FIFA summarizes 3 results, 3 different categories, or the kind of results we are going to have when we set up a high management commitment management system. We have seen the elements that we need to put in place in order to set up the management system, right? If you use these elements,
yes, sir.
Yes, if we use this element, these are the results we are going to have. But if we don't use those elements, we are going to have results that are contrary to what we are going to see now. Now you have these 3. The first thing is people work harder because they have more control over their work from the high commitment management system or management practice. If it comes, this point comes from, let me go back, this slide cannot go back. This point comes from that point that talks about, is it the third point? Was the third point that delegate, make them self-team managed and decentralized authorities, right? This point is coming from there. It's coming from that particular element. If you decentralize authorities and you allow them to allow them to exercise that authority or their power or over their department, they are going to, that means make them to know that they are the boss. Make them to know that they are the boss. They are the ones now championing that particular department. And so they should bring you the result that you need. In fact, they should run the business for you. All the other people will be answering back to them, not to you again. So when you decentralize it like that, this is the result you're going to have. People are going to work harder because they have more control. They know that, okay, now they have control. They are the ones controlling it over their workers, and so on and so forth. And you as the leader, you can now relax and have a very cool head and just watch how things are going. You just correct, you come in and correct that, okay, instead of you doing it this way, this is how you were supposed to do it. Or instead of you telling this person to go and do this activity in this place on this time, it was not supposed to be on this time because it's going to cause these things to happen. You were supposed to do it but on this other time and things like that. That is the first result you are going to have from the high commitment management system. The second result you are going to have from the high commitment management system is people work smart. They become smarter because they have stronger skills and greater competence from the investment of high commitment management practices. When you do it, it's coming from that aspect of training, right? This element, this result number 2 is coming from aspect of training, and it's coming from aspect of differentiating the status. When you differentiate the status and things like that, people become more smarter to work smartly. You have trained them. They have acquired a lot of skills. You were playing the players coach level. At the players coach level, you were coaching them. This is what they have to do. This is what they have to do. This is how you have to do it. You are coaching them, encouraging them not to give up. They can do it, even though they don't know how to do it. Just tell them they can do it. They should just take some time again, practice it again the more. Do it like this. This is the result you're going to have. When they become expert, they work smarter. And it's because of the skills that they have acquired from the training you have been giving them. So you need to have that ability. You need to develop a lot of skills. And an entrepreneur, any entrepreneur in this world has a lot of work to do. You cannot, if you call yourself an entrepreneur, then you don't do these things. I think there are many people call themselves entrepreneurs today in this world. But they don't have these qualities. And I think you yourself can identify some of them from your environment where you live. So it's not all about the name. That name, an entrepreneur, there's a book I'm going to recommend to you to read. An entrepreneur, I think it's written by either by Donald Trump or something like that. I've forgotten the author of the book. But for you to become an entrepreneur, you need to pass through 5 different stages. You need to start as a self-employed. You move to the level of an employee. You move to the level of a manager. You move to the level of a business owner. Then now you move to the level of an entrepreneur. Those are 5 different levels. For you to become an entrepreneur, you need to pass through these stages. If you skip one of them, you move straight to an entrepreneur, you fail, you will not succeed.
So come with the levels again.
Yes.
Please.
For you to become an entrepreneur also, you need to start from self-employed. You need to be self-employed. First of all, when you are self-employed, you need to start from your self-employed level. That means employing your own idea, doing your own business, personal, individually, without anybody. Also, there you are going to gather some skills of some kind of business skills, but at that level they are very, very small. But for you to grow, don't go and start a business first. Go and work. Be employed in a company. Get a job. While in that job, learn and grow. Learn different skills. Your job, at your job place, that book is, in fact, I'll look for that book and give you. If you read that book, you'll be very inspired. At your job place, you should be gaining 3 things. You should learn. If your job cannot teach you, then that job is not a good job. That is when you are an employee. You have graduated from the self-employed level. You are now an employee in a company. Not so. At your job place, if your job cannot teach you, it means you should learn from your job. Then that job is not a good job. If your job cannot give you money, pay you salary, then that is not a good job. And the other one again, if your job cannot make you grow to your next level, that means increase you, then you are not in a good job. Those are the 3 things you should look at when you go for a job. If you cannot learn from that job to increase your standards, if you cannot grow from that job, and if you cannot earn from that job enough, then that job is not a good job. Look for another job.
All right.
Now, the learning aspect of the learning aspect of it is what makes me interested. So it's a strike.
So you have not completed the stages of an entrepreneur.
Yes, I'll.
You said self.
Yes, okay. I'll come there. I'll see. I know that I'm not completed. I'm still in the second one, explaining the second point, the second stage.
All right.
Yes. So the most striking one in the second stage there, as an employee, is the learning aspect of it, learning and growing. If you cannot learn and grow, even if you are not receiving salary at the moment, but if you can learn something that is going to add you, because you have a dream to become an entrepreneur in the 5th stage also, the skills that you will learn there, if they can contribute, they are contributing to what you want to become overall as an entrepreneur, then you can consider the job. Then you see how you can develop those skills. Immediately you think that it's time for you to move forward, then you can move out, you continue, move to the next level, quit the job and move to the next level. These are practical things. It's not easy to come by. People have suffered. People have buried their dreams. Why? Because they lack some of these skills. They don't know where, when, and how to acquire, or let's say, or do some particular activities. So from the employee stage, while you are doing an employee stage, you should move to a management level to become a manager. Because as an employee, you are not a manager. You are not the one managing the company. You are just a staff, not so.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Try to manage now a company from the employee stage. Try to manage a company, somebody's company, not their own, somebody's own. It means managing a company at the level of employee where you were a player, you are a team player. Now at the level of a manager of a company, move to that stage. Try to manage a company. When you are a manager in a company, you become a team leader, not so?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you start playing the role of a team leader and not a team player. Now, you start working with people. That is how you start learning how to work with people. If you don't know how to work with people, then you go and create a business at the fourth stage. My brother or my sister, you are digging your grave. Because their business will not go anywhere. First, you have not first of all know how to work with people. They have given you a business to manage. You as a manager, you need to manage that business and bring results. Let the business be successful with your team members. If you do it very well, then you are qualified now to own a business. I don't know if you're getting me.
Yes, sir, I am.
Yes. Now you can move to the fourth stage. You can own a business. You own a business. You start bringing up people to do that business for you. For you to reach as an entrepreneur is when I start building not only one business, but you build like 300 businesses. That is when now you're an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur is creative, not so. An entrepreneur is innovative. An entrepreneur is a strategic thinker, or is a strategist. So one of the costs you need to learn also for you to operate at that level of entrepreneurship is what is strategic management. I think I'm going to bring in that cost in this, or maybe the next session. We are going to look for strategic management. We are going to include it. It's very important. So realize that for you to get to the level of an entrepreneur, which is the fifth stage, you must pass through these stages. Because at the level of entrepreneurship, any entrepreneur is someone who creates businesses. I'll create business here today. I set up a team, and I move on and create another business. I set up another team. I move on and create another business. Set up another team. All what I'm doing is strategic implementation. I'm doing the strategic implementation. I'm operating at the strategic level. I only come and look at my supervisor, the person I've appointed as the CEO of that business I've created in that place, that you are the active CEO. I only come and look at what he's doing. I go to another business. I go and look to the other business, the active CEO I've made in the other business. I go and look what he's doing. Now I can call myself an entrepreneur. That is who an entrepreneur is. So don't just get up and you have your small boutique. You are selling somewhere and you are there. You say you are an entrepreneur. Lies. You are not an entrepreneur. You are simply, I can put it, is it a business owner? If you are doing it alone, then you have not even started working. You are not even a manager. You are self-employed. That's why I put it. You are self-employed. Move from that level of self-employed. Go and work with people. So that when you work with people, you become a team player. When you are working in a team, you are not working alone. Because when you are managing your own store, your own boutique yourself, you are self-employed. That one, it doesn't connect. There is no one working with you. You are the only one. But when you start working with people, you start learning the attitude. There are different attitudes. Your colleagues start showing the kind of attitude. Maybe you were expecting to receive a document from colleague E, and the person is sending the document the next day. How are you going to respond to that attitude? And things like that. So you need to learn from that stage of running a self-employed business to an employee. When you get to an employee, you need to grow from an employee stage to a manager stage, where now you start managing people as a leader, and from there you can think of owning a business. When you own one business, you set it up and it succeeds. You start thinking of an entrepreneurship, of become an entrepreneur. Start setting businesses because you have set one business up and it is succeeding, and you have set up a team and that business is bringing amazing results. Now you can now set in different businesses. That is the level of an entrepreneur. I don't know if you get me.
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, we'll move forward. Now, the next thing is for us to really make leadership to strengthen our leadership skills in business, we need to talk about employee participation and influence. What do we mean by employee participation and influence? Yes, Mikun, do you have to say something? What do we mean by employee participation and influence? Okay. Yes, Madam Flora.
For me, I think employees' participation and influence. I think it is like giving the employees the chance to take part in some decisions and participate in some activities, and to also uh, look on the outcome. That means the influencer is the outcome from those activities that I've been participating in,
Mm-hmm.
to see how it has influenced the business. Hmm.
Okay. Any other person? All right. So, employee participation. Yeah, thank you for the contribution. You is okay. You're not far from the truth. It's almost exactly what I'm going to explain. So realize that employees, we consider employees as the most valuable resources in a company. And when we talk about the most valuable resources in a company, we consider them as who? As stakeholders, right? Stakeholders. Who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are people who have interest in an organization or in a company. Like an investor is a stakeholder. The person who founded the company is a stakeholder. Any other person who wants to invest in the business is a stakeholder. But most importantly, the people who are going to manage the business, who are your workers, who are your employees, they should be considered as the most valuable stakeholders. Because without them, the investor who is one of the stakeholders that have invested the money will not receive his return on his investment. Will he? Hello?
Hi.
I don't know if people are following me.
Yes, we are
Yes,
following,
sir,
sir.
we are complain.
Yes. I'm saying that if we don't consider employees as the most valuable stakeholders in an organization, in a company, do you think the investor or the business owner is going to receive, or they are going to receive their rewards or their benefits from the business?
Mm.
No, they will not
Again,
receive.
sir, come again.
They will not
I've not heard.
receive. I'm asking a question. If you don't consider, if you don't consider employees as the most valuable stakeholders, we talk about stakeholders as who? People who have interest in the business, not so.
Yes, sir.
People who have a share in the business. That means they have an interest. People who have interest in the business. That is why I put them there chronologically, is to explain those points. People who have interest in the business for that business to succeed or to be successful are who we call the stakeholders. And if employees are not considered as the most valuable stakeholders in that organization, do you think the investor, who is one of the stakeholders, or the owner of the business, who is the main stakeholder, are they going to receive some benefits?
Yes, sir, they will receive benefits, but not as much as if the employees were considered as the most valuable stakeholders.
Okay, they will receive benefits. But do you think that
But not as much.
But do you think that these benefits are going to last for long, even if they're going to receive benefits, as you said, not as much?
No, it's not. No, because I cannot elucidate the fact that they're not going to receive benefits at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because the question you asked is a relative question. Because you said if they are not considered as the most valuable, they can be working. They are not considered as the most valuable. They are disgruntled, but yes, they are still working.
Yes.
So in that case, I think the the other stakeholders, how do they call them? The investors will receive something, but not as much.
And
yes, sir.
Okay, is it going to raise an alarm for even the investors to start thinking of withdrawing their money from the business since the business is not progressing?
Yes, it is, because as time goes by, I think that their return on investment will drop.
Yes,
which might eventually lead to a collapse in the business.
Okay. Thank you. So these are the things we are talking about. So if you realize that if you want to really make an impact in an organization, you have to first of all impact the lives of our employees. That is a summary of it. If the life of our employees are well impacted in that manner, then they have a stake. They should have a stake. Employees should have a stake. They should have a part, a very important key part to play. That's what we call a stake. And we are going to see some of the stakes that we need to focus on as leaders or as business leaders to make sure that our employees to perform well, for the company to always be lively, and to produce the result that we want, those results we have seen previously that we are expecting to have. Now, what are the stakes? These are the three categories that we're talking about. Economically, they are going to have an economic stake, or a stake in an economic stake. And here is because of what? We should focus on their livelihoods. The economic stake here that employees have, or the interest that they have in the organization to succeed, depends economically on the fact that their livelihood comes from where? From the business. That is where they depend on. That is where they are working all the day. They spend almost half of their day working in that business. So their lives depend on that business. And if their pay or whatever they are doing is not supporting them, or is not supporting their economic nature, when we talk about economics, that means what you have, what you receive from what you are doing, that can enable you to take care of your needs, your personal needs, your family needs, whatever needs that you have in life. That is the economic part of it. So if they cannot receive this thing from that business, then it's going to make them work less. They are not going to put in their best. They are not going to show in their interest in the best way so that company can produce. So we need to look at the economic level on their capacity, or what we can do for them so that they can keep working smartly and they keep working with a lot of professionalism to get us the result. The next thing is about their psychology. What we'll talk about, you reducing the difference or the status difference and things like that. It comes to around the psychological part of it. The drive, the pride from their work, the pride that they have that they are working with this company, the pride that you have you are working with Dangote, the pride that you have you are working with which other company, maybe Supreme Dove as the most renowned supermarket, or Supreme, and some of those things. The pride that you have that you are working with those renowned companies. You are working with Mark Zuckerberg as the owner of Facebook company. You are working
So
with
your volume has an issue.
Are you getting me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm getting
Flora, why are you speaking again as though someone is pushing you behind? That you must speak. Okay, so that drive that they have, they drive the pride and from their work and things like that. So when they go out there, psychologically they have that mentality. Oh, I work with this organization, even outside the way people look at them in the society, that they are working with this big, you are working with this big bank, Affluent First Bank, you are working with a bank, only the way they call it, first of all, it makes you, feel as though you are on top of the world and things like that. So it plays on the psychology. It makes them to develop that interest in the company and things like that. Politically, also we'll talk about their rights. They have rights as employees, and so they also have rights like citizens. So you should give them their rights. Make them to feel that they have rights in whatever thing that you are doing, as citizens and as employees. So those are the two rights they are talking about. First, they have rights as employees because they are working with you, and also they are human beings that the government, they are under the government of in which you are working under. And so there are labor codes, there are laws, there are rules, there are regulations that are set by the labor code for them to work. So you should not mean it. So those are the citizens you are talking about. So you should not bring them down. So immediately all of these things are overruled. It means you don't want them to participate. Their participation and their influence in that company is at stake. It's at stake. And because it is at stake, they are not going to give in their best, and the outcome will be very, very poor. So that is why I've said that the best way to incorporate employee stake to improve an organization's performance is what? Is through employee participation and influence. These are the things that you need to do for them to participate very well and for them to be influential. Right. So I think we are going to maybe ending from here. Maybe ending here, and we'll continue this module. We'll have two main, or let's say two main topics, but I will continue in the next class. Okay. So this is where we are going to end. Is there any question?
None from my end.
Okay. Flora, do you have anything to say?
No, nothing there.
Okay.
So if only the notes could be shared.
Yes. We'll share. I will share the notes when they are ready to be shared. For now, they are not yet ready.
All right, sir.
Yes. Remember that we are going to meet on Saturday. I want to see the number. About 35 persons have registered for this to study, but I see only few people in class. Maybe today is Monday. Yesterday, most people showed interest, but due to circumstances beyond our control, we're not available to really teach. Today, I think they have started working, and what we are discussing about the workplace is what is affecting them not to be in the class. They are working now overtime. And so they are not in class today. So hopefully,
And they are not earning enough.
that
They are working overtime, but they are not earning enough.
they are not earning enough. They can even work like that for 10 years like that. They want to see, they don't even have this thing, CNPS fee that they are even paying for them. And they will even retire without, in fact, the kind of work we are working today, our forefathers even did better. They even had money. Our own is the worst. There's a lot of exploitation. And the reason why there's a lot of exploitation is because the people too, the workers, they have refused to learn and grow. They don't want to develop skills that are going to make them better at their workplaces, make them different at their workplaces. If you look at the flyer of this Digital Skills Masterclass, my code there was for you to learn new skills and to work differently, to work uniquely at your workplace in 2023. So the goal here is for you to acquire new skills that are going to make you different. When you speak, people know that now you have gained something. You have a say. In fact, you can contribute. They can take you to the next level. They can add your salary. They can give you some responsibilities and things like that. These are the skills that you need to develop. They are very important. So they are very selective skills. All the skills that you are learning now, they are selective skills because it's what I've seen in everywhere that I've been working. I've worked in 3 organizations since I left university, and all in these 3 organizations I've seen they have almost the same common way of working. One of the organizations I work as a manager. And so there I had the possibility of managing a team. I work with a team, and so on and so forth. And I've worked in my own personal business, like started doing something alone. And now I am at the level of setting up a business. You know that I'm not yet an entrepreneur, right? There's still a journey. I'm not yet an entrepreneur. Until I set the first business, I succeed. I set the second one, I succeed. Then you can call me an entrepreneur. At least I have 2 businesses that I can boast that I'm an entrepreneur. So, however, I've already passed through all the other stages. That is the stages of self-employed. I have been employed as an employee. I have worked as a manager. So I've already passed through those stages. Now I'm at my 4th stage, setting up a business. That is the idea. For you to become an entrepreneur, you need to pass through those stages. You need to start. Thank you very much. I don't know if you have any other thing. If there's no other thing, then we'll call it off. Yeah, I will say it was a beautiful thing meeting you guys again. And especially Madam Elizabeth and Madam Flora, you spiced up the training with your participation. I was very impressed. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chisu.
You are welcome, and thank you for thanking me all the times.